Big time in Showtime and action. What's going on? Ryan Phillips, thanks for coming on the Billy Big Time Show.
Billy Big Time. Holy shit. Let's go big today, brother.
Let's go big or let's go home. I got
You
this.
know it.
You know about these glasses, the ones they give out the House of Corrections or up in the feds or something? Look how thick they are.
I don't know. I saw the one on your Instagram feed with the tape on it. I thought you were fucking trying to be one of the Hanson brothers.
Oh, I'm a Hamilton.
Hey,
I actually have a great idea for a movie, but we'll talk after. So listen, let's jump right into it. I'm on the phone. Jackie Moran set up the Zoom for us. Shout out to Jackie Moran and Ryan Donnelly, my producers. So anyways, let's jump right into your hockey DP. You're 6'1", you're 185 pounds. It said you're a lot bigger than that though, aren't you?
Yeah, hockey DB can over-exaggerate things sometimes. They had one of my buddies who's like 215. They put him down as 260. But, you know, whatever. Fuck, I'm like 6 feet, half an inch. 205 fluctuates down to 195. But after I went across Canada, I had to be careful I didn't fall down the drain in the fucking shower because I got down to 168.
Oh, wow. You must have had zero body fat.
Yeah, it was something else.
So listen, so you started out playing young. Your dad got you into it?
My dad got me into hockey when I was 2. You know, I started skating when I was 2. I probably had a hockey stick in my hand before that. And, you know, from that point on, you know, from the time I was 2 to the time I left home at 16, you know, my dream, all I dreamt about was just, you know, playing in the National Hockey League. You couldn't get me off the streets. You know, living in Vancouver, it's not super cold, but, you know, we had a few winters where we'd have a backyard rink. And yeah, it's just one of those. I mean, I played all sports mostly, but.
Who were your guys growing up for the Canucks with those horrible uniforms?
I can't, you know what? I liked the Canucks until 1994, right around there. And I don't know. The Canucks, they've had some bad luck. Let's put it that way. I like the fucking V though. The old V fucking jerseys.
I like those unis. They weren't bad. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, they're like, hey, they're like Halloween costumes. I
liked it when Burry was in them, that's for sure.
Yeah, I met Pavel a few times and had a few nights out with Pavel. Holy Christ, that was fun. He actually dated one of my a girlfriend of mine's sisters. So yeah, it's
awesome. Yeah, he was with the Rangers when I was there. He had 2 bad knees. He didn't play that whole season, I don't believe. I just seen him in the training room. I met him in the training room. You know, he was in the ice in his knees all the time. But listen, let's jump right into it. You're playing youth hockey in Vancouver, British Columbia. Now, do you playing travel hockey right away or just town hockey?
Well, I mean, there was obviously we traveled a lot. You know, when I was playing youth hockey. But
what was your team name as a kid? The team you played?
North Shore Winter Club. So the likes of Paul Correa, Brett Hall, you know, Joe Murphy, Evander Kane. I mean, list goes on. They've produced probably, I don't know, 50 plus NHL guys. So, you know, growing up.
So you drafted into the WHL?
I was actually, before they had the WHL draft,
okay.
They put you on a protection list.
Okay.
So I got put onto the Tacoma Rockets protection list when I was 15.
Okay.
So, and yeah, so they had my rights, and you know, I ended up playing with them, you know, a little later on in life. So, yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So you're in the WHL. You're turning pro. You're down in Wichita, and then you tell us about that experience.
Well, I mean, playing in the Western Hockey League, you know, it was the politics, the shit that goes on behind the scene. Obviously, the hockey culture. You know, the hockey culture is something that is being brought to the surface a lot lately. You know, a lot with the hazing rituals and all that bullshit. A lot of players haven't succumbed to that. I'd like to say, unfortunately, but fortunately, because it taught me who I am today and my core values and whatnot. But, you know, you know, you leave home at a young age, you know, you think that your teammates are all going to be there for you. You're going to have a good coach that motivates you and whatnot. And, you know, whether it just be circumstantial luck or whatever.
So
You
for
know,
the
I
people out
coaches.
there that don't know about Ryan Phillips' story, he was a stud athlete out of Vancouver, Kelowna, I believe.
Vancouver.
Vancouver?
Yeah.
Okay, right in Vancouver then, huh? So anyways, he's a stud athlete. He's playing in the WHL. He has a horrible experience throughout his rookie year. He was the youngest kid on the team. He was hazed violently and aggressively, way beyond anything that's normal hazing. I don't know how you controlled yourself. A guy like me, I had a guy try to haze me. I was telling you this story in Bellingham. They put a meatball on my shoe. I ended up fighting the kid for an hour out in the parking lot. I picked the meatball out of my tray. I whipped it off his face. Yeah, at a restaurant right at the table. They all like started clinking their thing. They thought
You got shoe checked.
Yeah, they thought it was funny to ruin my $100 sneakers. I was like, fucking, see you later. So something like, I was never a guy to haze. You know, I like to fucking make fun of each other and stuff like that. But I was like, you know, I was the butt of most of the jokes on these teams. So
well, you bust
that made me
balls,
feel,
you know, it's all
that
part
makes
of the
you feel
game.
good when you're part of it. But they didn't make you feel part of it. They made you feel bad about yourself by doing that. And that really affects people later in life, I believe, and it has you. And you rode across Canada to raise awareness for mental health. Tell us about that.
Well, you know, look, at the end of the day, I'm grateful for all the experiences I went through in hockey. Okay. I sustained 7 concussions that were diagnosed along the way. Unfortunately, my draft year, I was rated high in the 3rd round, but I only played 25 games that year. 7 games in, I sustained, you know, a terrible concussion. I was out like a fucking lamp for about a minute and a half, broke my shoulder in 3 places. And that was kind of the onset of, you know, trying to cope with like pain and whatnot. And then, but not just that kind of pain, the emotional pain of like not being part of the team. You know, you're 4 months out of the fucking lineup and then you're trying to like fit in, you know, as a younger player and whatnot. And, you know, like you can't blame the players on this because a lot of these players were hazed, you know, the year before, the years previous. So it's like, it's natural. It's like what's supposed to happen. Some get it worse than others. The coaches and the fucking GMs, the owners of the team, they're the ones that should be taking accountability. You know, back in the day, I know these days there's been a lot of like, you know, it's not as bad as it used to be. A lot of teams just had to carry bags and whatnot. But the worst thing that ever happened to me, I would say, wasn't getting pissed on. It wasn't getting the toothpaste in the hair that was shown on National Geographic. It wasn't getting the Jiffy markers and all the booze poured down my throat. You know, I think the worst thing that anyone ever did to me was actually put clear sock tape on my blades before a game. And, you know, you're all psyched up and you're trying to, you know, just go out there and do the best you can. I was already terrified of my coach because he had my career, you know, he literally had, you know, my fucking career in his hands. You can get really
fucking hurt like that too. You could rip your groin right off the muscle.
Well, that's what happened is it was a long, you remember, you played in Tri-Cities. I don't know. Did you ever play in Tacoma at the Tacoma Dome?
Yes.
So it's a long walk on skates to the actual to the ice. And I remember I had no idea. I mean, this, you know, cocksucker put fucking.
How would you, Ryan? How would you have an idea?
You have no idea. And I remember my parents were there to watch the game. And I remember you know, you're running on the ice like this, psyched up, you know, all right with it. And place is packed. I'm playing against Seattle. There's like fucking 13 to 14,000 fans in the Tacoma Dome. Remember, big building. Yeah. And I remember just bailing and I fucking went down like a ton of bricks. And this was after I'd actually had my shoulder. That was so I went down on my shoulder. I smacked my head. I was like, what the fuck? And, you know, sure as all shit, you know, I checked my skates and there's fucking hockey tape all the way along both my skates, you know, and I had that was after the Vaseline that was in the gloves. Before I had to go get a new pair of mitts to put on. It's probably the same guy that put the sock tape on put fucking Vaseline in my gloves. You know, and it takes a few days to fucking break in a new pair of hockey gloves. So whatever, you know. But you know, I think that the coaches should take more accountability. We've all heard about the Graham James of the world. I knew that shit was going on 10 years before it even fucking was publicized with Sheldon Kennedy, Theoren Fleury. I just got off of my own podcast with Jim Thompson that spoke in depth about those players as well. That, you know, there's absolutely no fucking way in hell that a coach or players should be able to mistreat team members in a way of such discrepancy.
I agree.
So that's why I went across. I mean, years later.
Hey, hockey back in the fucking day was like the Wild West. Like it was a culture that was like very little fucking information seeped out. It was kind of like all these hockey players retire and they just don't talk about it. Like, you know, it stays in the locker room and this and that. And I was fucking blown away at how many pieces of shit were on these hockey teams and what they would get away with. And yeah, I had a bullying experience with Dennis Blondby my first year, and the guy would just treat me terrible, and I was like going there hoping to learn something from this guy. He ended up being the biggest piece of shit in the fucking hockey world, and I'm like, this is nuts. And people like who know. So when I started speaking out about the hockey world and hockey people and this and that, people were like horrified that, oh, this guy's telling the truth about the hockey world. Oh my God. Yeah, it was full of fucking pedophiles, weirdos, hangers-ons, fucking maggots. I mean, anyway, so you brought attention to the mental health. Do you think you're mentally ill, or are
no,
you?
Not at all.
Listen, this is the thing too. They like to label people and judge people that they can't control and manipulate and dominate.
I'll tell you, if you've played professional hockey and then after professional hockey, obviously got highly involved with the marijuana industry. So I suffer post-traumatic stress. Okay?
That's what I have.
Now, which probably I would say 100% of all hockey players our age have, is, you know, post-concussion, PTSD, you know, those memories that keep, you know, ruminating from the past. Like, holy fuck, I let that happen to me. This guy treated me this way. Why didn't this happen? Da, da, da. So it fucks with your head. Sure. And so, you know, years later, as I'm like, you know, fuck, I didn't reach my dream of making the NHL. I was the guy that should have made it. I was never jealous of guys that, you know, were kind of like below me in rankings and whatnot that did make it to the NHL. I was always like super proud of them because, you know, I was just like, I was never like one of those jealous kind of dudes. What's that?
You feel like you're a part of it somehow when someone you played with or against, you know, you competed with them and you probably drove him to try harder.
Absolutely. And I mean, at the same time, I wanted to be out there. You know what it's like playing in front of 20,000 fans in the National Hockey League. I mean, I'd be sitting there watching my buddies out in the ice being like, fuck. And then after the game, they'd be like, oh, you could have easily been out there and fucking been on our line tonight and shit. And I'd be like, yeah, fuck, whatever. It's all good. And I play it off like it was no big deal. But you know what? Me not making the NHL has actually given me a really good opportunity now in life that I've reconnected to a lot of guys just like yourself, you know, like, we're no better. We're no different. It doesn't matter if you play junior hockey or in the National Hockey League, if you're a garbage man or if you're a fucking painter. We're people. At the end of the day, we're fucking people. And I don't care what you do. I don't care if you drink, if you're homeless or whatever. I'm going to treat you the same. That's it.
Oh, that's you know, that's a big point that I want to touch on right now is that's why I did this show. I'm not a hockey snob. We're all hockey guys. You don't have to play in the NHL to come on my show. You don't have to do anything except love hockey, the best game in the world. And you have to
fucking right.
Too. The big man upstairs. All glory and praise go to him. You know that, brother.
Yes, amen. That's why we're doing this show on a Sunday.
Awesome, man. So listen, take the floor, brother.
Well, okay, so I'd done a lot of advocacy work after I came out of the, I went highly involved into organized crime. I pioneered the BC Bud Boom. I'll give you a link where you can actually share my story that was told on National Geographic. I was, obviously, that's kind of like a business card for life, really, is that I guess, I'm grateful that they came to me and they thought my story was worthy of being told,
Did you get
to
paid?
an audience. What's that?
Did you get any cash?
They
No,
gave
for
me
the
a little. You know what? I'll say I'm grateful for what I have, but for a company as big as NG, they didn't give me enough. Because if I would have had more, I'd be able to do more with my life. And that's something that I was always like really used to be able to do, is because the marijuana industry. Our best year that we did, at the organization that I led, we did, we pulled in 90 million plus profit that one year. That was in 1 year. I paid the ultimate price in the year 2000. I went to prison for over 500 days for importation and conspiracy to import. And so I didn't see the light of day. There was no yard. There was no nothing. But you know what? I got a grade 9 education. But so my education has actually come through, like we talked about before, is the great university of life. Being on the streets, hockey, like just learning through adversity, really, and being able to try. I've been over 70 countries in my life, and when I came out of the game, it wasn't the easiest thing. It's like coming out of the mafia. It's like once you're in, there's no way out. And the three realities really in that game is like either fucking death, prison, or picking up some sort of an addiction. I had threats on my life. I was scared shitless. I talk about PTSD. My PTSD comes from the hockey and obviously that world as well. So when I decided to make a change for the better in my life, I woke up one day. I was, I don't know how much nose pack I shoved up my beak. And, I had a party at my house. There was probably 400 people. I had mirrored ceilings in my room. No amount of money could make me happy. I had a host of fair weather friends that were just, clinger honors for money and cars or whatever else I could give them. I was, making all the millions of dollars that come with it, you get clung on to by, and I don't blame them. It's like they want what you have. They think it's so glamorous and so amazing, but inside you're empty. So I made that.
Listen, you talked to me last night, and one of the stories that I found so fascinating was obviously taking the butt across the border in a car and a hockey bag was pretty crazy. Also, though, I wanted you to go over the story about the how you made your own. Like, what were you on backpack on foot the time you got busted, and your buddy and you were together, and you guys had an argument or something?
Well, what happened was for 2 years before that happened,
Yep.
my crew, we connected a logging road to a state park through a bushwhack that was
What does that mean for us Americans?
Okay, so there's the Canadian border, there's the U.S. border, and then there's actually like the border drive-throughs, so to speak, where you go through and you say, "Hi, I'm so here's my passport," and they either let you in or they don't. Yeah. Well, this is about 2 hours away from the toll, the border protection, obviously. And we connected through helicopter aerial maps that there was a national state park on one side of the border. On the Canadian side of the border, there was a heli logging road that went up about 8 miles up, big up into the mountains. BC's all mountains and wilderness, right? So we found a way that we could connect literally a bushwhack through the glacier park, and then next thing well, it wasn't a hike. It was like, if we go from this point to this point, then we'll be in that park. So it was literally like going through the mountains, with a compass pretty much. And that's how we got our contraband over to the other side. That was one of the ways,
What would you carry it in a backpack?
Well, we would do 100 at a time, 100 pounds at a time. with 4 hikers. So each hiker would have 25 pounds in a backpack. Okay. And then we'd have 2-way radios on each side. I had a driver on the other side and whatnot. So the driver would come and pick up the contraband from the hikers. The hikers would get picked up with another vehicle, head back to Canada. The product would go down at my markets, usually at that point was in Seattle, get dumped off in Seattle. And I didn't do that hike for 2 years. The reason I did that hike on that specific day is I got ripped off. I got my safe house kicked in, and 100 pounds got stolen from my safe house. That's at that point, that was $275,000 of sure. Canadian. American, it was like $550,000 worth of weed at that time. And I was responsible for that. Half of it was mine, half of it was my partner's. And he was like, this is an inside job. And I was like, no, there's no way. There's no way my guys would rip me off. Absolutely no way. And I said, later that night after he came over and there was some fucking heavy shit that went down, he was pointing guns at people. We had to have everybody that was involved. And he's like, you know, my nickname's Philly. So he's like, Philly is not the guy that did it. We're partners here. You've never met me. And he's speaking this Chinese accent, whatever. People are scared shitless. And later that night, you know, after everyone kind of went, he fired off a couple caps with a 9mm into the stereo just to freak people out. He said, if I don't have that product back in 24 hours, there's going to be some consequences. So I'm scared shitless. I don't want anybody dying. You know, it's getting fucked up, right? And so I went and I saw him that night and I said, yo, dude, we can make that money back in one run. I'll go with these guys. I'll go with them and make sure nothing bad happens. And we'll make the money back. We'll just get things back on the go. And I'm sure the truth will come to the surface. We'll find out who took took our stuff, and life goes on. And sure as all shit, the one day that I decided to do it, I could feel it in my gut that something was going to happen. I could just feel that something was going to go wrong, but I didn't know what happened was I ended up doing the hike with the boys, and my driver, who I told over and over and over again never to go to the airport because that's where the feds would watch for illegal activity. And it turns out he'd gone there 7 or 8 runs in a row, and he actually led the FBI right to us. We got onto the road of Glacier, which was, you know, that.
Why did he go to the airport? What for?
So we get a rental car, because he would get a rental car, come to us, pick up the contraband, and then we go down to Seattle to, you know, sell our product.
They were watching the rental cars.
They were watching the rental car. They could, and they were watching him because this is before the days like vacuum seal, and we did it really.
Yeah. Probably
we were just shoving pounds in backpacks and fucking running and gunning like cowboys, and got.
I was ready to get that out of you, fucking. That's when we were talking earlier when I was at Donkey's. I was trying to get that out of you because I didn't get that how you actually got pinched. Oh,
yeah,
man.
So that's how we got pinched. Next thing I know, I'm at walking, guns drawn to the head, thrown out of the car, taken to the county jail, which was fucking horrible. I was there for 7 days, and the state had to make a decision whether or not to take it federal or state. And so I was in this pod with like 8 other guys, all heroin addicts and junkies and whatnot. And there's me, I'm all fucking frosted tip hair, fucking tanned up from the summer, you know, making money, fucking all of a sudden I'm in a fucking jail, nowhere to go. I called my old man and I'm like, Dad, I'm in jail. I got busted and we got questioned and all that. There's a whole process happened, but I mean, that would go on forever if I told the whole story. Next thing you know, went federal, I got sentenced to 24 months. I got good time. I got let out early. I did become a good boy right away and built a big, vast empire, and then eventually got out of it. But let's go back to why I actually went across the country of Canada, because we can get into the whole smuggling and the weed thing. I'm open. You can ask me anything.
I'm done with that. That's just something that, we were talking about. I want to focus more on hockey and life after hockey.
Yeah. So, life after hockey for me wasn't planned. I planned on.
I would like to talk more about you as a player and what was your best asset as a player?
I think just being creative out there, but not having the opportunity to showcase that creativity is what hurt me the most. Was that, I looked up to, Wayne Gretzky, Lemieux. I tried to pattern my game off Gretzky. I even had the blue blades when I was a kid.
Awesome.
And, I
I
had,
chilled from that.
I had the Titan TPMs. I had the old Jofa helmet.
Awesome.
Huh?
The Blue Blades were awesome.
I could not have them. I actually was the only guy on my team that had the balls to wear them.
I used to spray paint my white tux black.
That's great. And then they came out with black tux.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never had clear ones. I always wanted them.
Fuck. So yeah, I was an offensive.
Was very strong in the video I saw. I thought your skating was second to none.
I was, yeah, I humbly say that, I could fly out there. I had great hands. I had all the ability. And, years of my life, even after I was, it is what it is, because we are who we are in the now, right now. And, whatever goes forward, we just keep living. Right. But
what was your worst asset as a player?
I say probably because of certain things that happened that I let affect me was my attitude. Your attitude. Yeah. My attitude landed me on the third line. My attitude landed me on the fourth line in the stands when I should have been on the first and the second. I should have been on the first line. I was told, even when I was playing in the Central Hockey League, I was playing for a coach named Ian Duncan, who was on the all-rookie team back in '88, played for the Winnipeg Jets. He's an American guy too. And Dunk said to me, he said, Philly, he goes, you got all the talent in the world. He's like, if you just get on the bike for 15 minutes before the game, 15 minutes before practice, before the game, show me that you actually want this. Because you go out there and you score a point and you don't even try. And he's like, just fucking work a little bit harder and show me that you want it. He's like, I could have you up into the American League in fucking 2 weeks. No, just trust me. And, sure as all shit, I was playing in Nashville at that time. And, I'd be at the Mix Factory, which was the big bar there, and tearing it up and just not giving a fuck. And I think a lot of it was trust issues, even with the coach. And, you just kind of take on, we're creatures of habit. And, when you have those habitual components that are drive into your psyche, where you've had, say, years and years of coaches that maybe didn't believe in you, and then you stop believing in yourself, it just kind of makes it hard to move forward and actually see, now I don't have that attitude. Now my attitude's all in. I don't give a fuck. I'm just going to give it my all and do my best, because I'm at that point in my life where it's like, hey man, shit happened back then. Now it's like, what am I going to do to get back?
Can you take us through? Because I was always fascinated, and I've always been fascinated about, there was a thing in the newspaper when I was a kid, and it would be New England players in the minors. And it would have, there was no computer back in the day, and it would come out every once a month or once a week, I forget, but I think it was in the Boston, I know it was in the Globe. And I appreciated that they did that, because you could keep track of, and my dream was always to play professional hockey. And I always said, I'll earn it if I have to. I'll go from the bottom and work my way up and prove myself. So I was never worried so much. And you used to call 411 to try to get in touch with these coaches and get the phone number of these teams in the East Coast League or the Central League. I believe your first year pro was 95 or 96, and mine was in 95 or whatever it was. Where I'm 46, you're 45.
Yeah, 95. I played 18.
Is I was always fascinated by, I would watch guys like their points and their penalty minutes in these lesser leagues and how they never made it up. So could you tell us about your journey in the minor leagues? Like, you went to Wichita, and then where'd you go from there?
Played half my 20-year-old year. I asked for a trade from the Regina Pats because I was being abused by the coach.
Yep.
And it got to the point where it got so bad where, he grabbed me by the throat. He was being physical with me physically and verbally abusive. And it got to the point where it was like, there's no way. I got asked for a trade. So Bill Hickey, he's passed away now. He played for the Montreal Canadiens way back, if you ever want to look him up. But Bill and I always had a good relationship, and he was wondering why I wasn't playing. Like he was a believer in me. The year before, when I got traded from Tacoma to Regina, I had a point a game as I was doing well. I was getting my opportunity.
We're done with junior. I want to talk about your professional time in the minors. I want to talk about Wichita and where'd you go from Wichita and what'd you put up for points in games and stuff like that. I want to talk about. We're moving past the junior now.
All right, we're past junior, and we still haven't got across Canada yet. So went to Wichita and as a 20-year-old, and I played 18 games to finish off the last half of the year. The first half I played Tier 2, and a couple points a game. It was easy for me, right? And my coach said to me, he said, look, he's like, you're well past playing in this level, and you're not going back to the Western League. He's like, you want to go play in the Central Hockey League? There's an opening. An old coach of mine that won a Stanley Cup with the Edmonton Oilers. His name is Don Jackson. And Don Jackson was the coach there at the time. And I went there, and he took a liking to me and gave me a chance. And yeah, I played my 18 years old.
How much money?
Oh, fuck. I was making $450 a week and a free apartment.
That's pretty fucking good. I was making $315 my first year.
Really?
$315 a week. And I didn't even pick up my checks. That's how much I just cared about. They'd be like, you got 3 checks upstairs. They gave you a place to live. You always getting free food everywhere. And these restaurants and stuff. And I lived with a bunch of guys in a house. I just chipped in for the groceries and did my thing, just tried to do my best out in Johnstown.
Most of my money went to extracurricular activities.
Say that again?
I said most of my money went to extracurricular activities.
Okay, so I was getting free beers at the. I never did drugs during the season. I always
me neither.
Get fucked up in the summertime, but they give you free beers. I smoked pot.
I did, yeah.
I think I was the only one on my team that smoked pot. But
you mean medicine?
Yeah, yeah. Exactly. Well, I mean, it really has helped me with my life. I don't know how you feel about it, but
100%. I'm an advocate.
Yeah. So listen, the next year after Wichita, where are you?
I ended up starting the season off in Wichita, and I had a coach, another beauty that just, didn't really give me the opportunity. And, I think I was playing maybe 7-8 minutes a game. 11 points in 19 games. I'm playing like 8-9 minutes a game was a joke. I wasn't happy. And he didn't like me anyways. He thought his old lady had a crush on me or something like that, which she probably maybe did. And I didn't bang her, I swear to God.
Yeah, right.
No, that was number one rule. The number one rule is
don't fuck the coach's wife.
Don't fuck the coach's wife, ever. Yeah, but I got so fucked up one night. I was at a Christmas party that I was holding at my condo. Half the team was there, all the single guys that had girlfriends and whatnot, and then a few of the boys, the wives, they showed up. And the coach said, no drinking tonight, as we had a Christmas game the next day. And I knew the liquor rep, and he'd always give me free booze, bring over cases, 60-pounders and shit like that. Next thing you know, it's 9:30 at night. We're all sober. None of us are drinking. We're playing by the rules. And my buddy Paulie says to me, he's like, fuck, he's like, give the liquor rep a call. He's like, we got to have a couple sociables under the radar and fucking, he goes, next thing you know, liquor rep shows up with like fucking 6 cases of 60-pounders, coffee tables are broken, people are dancing everywhere, chugging out of the bottle. I think 5 guys made it to the morning skate. I was one of them. And then the finger was pointed at me. I was so drunk still, it was retarded. And I remember the next day I was at the face-off. It was an afternoon game, 3:00, and the coach is just shaking his head at me. And I lined up against the guy next to me. I said, I'm so drunk right now, I can't play, so just get ready to drop the glove.
Donaldson, get off the ice before you kill yourself out here. Fucking Barkley Donaldson, so drunk he's gonna piss all over himself, he told me.
Exactly. Yeah. It was literally like exactly like that. And so I dropped the gloves, he didn't drop his, and I gave him a fucking few good ones and tossed out of the game. They scored 2 goals while I was a 5-minute major and kicked out of the game. And intermission, I got my skates off, and I still had my pants, my socks off. Skates are off, upper gear's off, everything. Coach comes in and just loses his fucking shit on me.
Is that when you decided to fuck his wife?
No, but I should have afterwards. After what he did, I probably should have.
Fuck him.
Fuck him.
Fuck
Poor
him.
guy.
Fuck him. Should have been on the field.
Well, he threw a hockey skate at my head. He actually.
Oh, I did that to another guy before.
Yeah. Well, so he threw a hockey skate at my head. He missed me by about an inch. And he goes, "You're fucking done." And then the next day I got traded to Nashville. So.
Who was your coach in Nashville, Ryan?
That was Ian Duncan in Nashville.
And so Nick Fatio coached in Nashville when they were in the East Coast League, I think.
Yep.
And then I think they went to they didn't have a team maybe for a year, and then maybe they went back and got into the Central League.
Yeah, they were the Nighthawks in the Central League and then they were for 1 year. Then they changed the name, and then they were in the Central League for 1 more year after that. And then I think it was the very next year. Then they got the NHL team came in. I think 99-2000, if I'm correct.
I don't know the stats on that, but I'm just gonna do a little cannabis, I think.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good idea to relax a little bit. Might as well. I mean, it is Sunday.
Thank you. We got. I hope I'm not keeping you too long, but we got about another half hour to go. I'd like to ask
for as long as you want. You can always cut the fucking thing up.
I'd like to ask you a little bit more about your professional hockey when you knew, like, said, "Hey, fuck it, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm sick of riding around on buses, shit like that."
Great question. So, what happened?
What kind of weed you smoking? What kind of weed is that?
Mimosa.
Hold on, I'll tell you what mine is. It's mine is mint chocolate chip. Mint chocolate chipskis.
There you go.
Anyways, yeah, so it was a great question.
So what happened was I was making more money selling fucking weed than I was playing hockey. And, I wasn't happy where I was. I was like, the shoulda, coulda, woulda, whatever. It just, all the travel, and I got my girl at the time got pregnant, and I decided to, put just more focus into what I was doing illegally than I was, playing hockey and not knowing where you're going to be from one day to the next. And
oh, it's fucking horrible. Horrible.
Horrible.
I was in San Diego. I was the fucking leading scorer in the league. The coach comes to me. I had a girlfriend and everything. Comes to me. He's like, "Yeah, it was the year of the strike." They're like, "Yeah, Curtis Brown from who was a great guy, but he was not even."
Curtis Brown. He played for the Moose Jaw Warriors, and then he ended up playing in the NHL for a while. Yeah.
He's a great guy, but he couldn't carry my stick. He's like, "Yeah, he's gonna come and take your spot." That's it. We just don't want you anymore. And I was with Steve Martinson there the year before, and they edged him out to put this coach in. And he was like 30 years old. I was like 28. He was like jealous of me. I'm like, and I just ended up on 3 teams that year. And it was for no reason. I'm like, you can have us both here and cut this other kid. And they had Jonathan Shockey as one of the other guys. I'm like, oh my, he's a great kid, but he can't even skate. I'm like, This is crazy. So I went to Vegas, and I'm in Vegas. I spent $40,000 in like 2 months. I'm like, I tell my coach, I'm like, this is not, this isn't. I mean, I'm gambling every day because I got nothing to do. You guys are going to the dollar poker room. They're wondering why our team can't win. I can't put up points because half the teams, like the team just had a bunch of good players, but nobody could do anything good because no one was focused on hockey. They're all focused on poker, these kids. And they're all eating McDonald's and don't have money for fucking pregame and shit. And I'm
Unbelievable.
like, yeah, it was unbelievable. And then I end up out in Boise. But I mean, like when someone coming uproots you like that one day, you're like happy. You're like, they told me I couldn't play in the NHL anymore. And then for that year, and then there was a strike. So I'm like, oh, so a 1 year suspension turns into 2, which turns into lifetime. Anyways, more on that, whatever. But
yeah, so
it's emotional. It's all emotional. You put a lot of hard work into this stuff over the years. As a kid, as an adult, you stay with it. You get there. You're proud of yourself. And then these people that are adults who are fucking buffoons.
Just roadblocks, they're like roadblocks that there's no way around the roadblock. That's the thing. It's like the politics that all go into it. It's like, and then it affects you, like your psyche.
And it starts early on. It starts fucking at like fucking little league and little kids.
You're like, what the fuck do I have to do? And these are days. Like I used to always pride myself on being the hardest fucking worker in practice, and then it got to the point where it was like it wasn't being recognized. So I just like fucking dog it. I'd be like, fuck this. Like it doesn't even matter anymore. And
yeah,
so
that's where a lot of kids I feel like kind of fall into that trap.
Yeah, that's why I believe that a lot of like mentorship needs to be happening with these kids. Like that. Well, just the whole like fucking, just the way people are coached these days. I know it's changed a lot. I mean, we come from an era where it was tough, man. I mean, if you and I could play in the era now, the way it is, I mean, fuck, I would love that. That would be fucking amazing. I mean,
well, they could never fucking stop me in hockey. After I got out of the NHL, it was so frustrating because they could never stop me. Like not even in the American League. I was too big and too strong and too fast. And too smart. I knew how to use my body and shit like that. So and my balance was too good. You never see me get knocked over. Never see me on the ice. Really, I don't think there's many clips ever of me being on the ice. Actually, that's how good superior my skating was. And I worked at that. So for those people to take that gift that I worked at away from me, really, and then they would be frustrating playing because they had to referee. Like, because they'd be calling 100 penalties a game or 5-10 penalties a game if they called it how it should have been me in the minors. But so then that's not happening. And then little by little, you start to be like, oh, people are abusing me or taking advantage of me out here. And then you start to be like, all right, you do something out there. And then the ref's like, anyway.
Well, I'll tell you know what happened was I'd been off the ice for 10 years. I hadn't stepped on the ice in 10 years. And I was 34 at the time, and I'd been out of the business. Now I was out of the business. The weed industry was done for me. It was a new life, and I was like, I was going to the gym every fucking day. I was really focusing on my health and my well-being and all that kind of shit. And I was like, I'm gonna make a comeback. And I wasn't allowed back in the States at that point because I did end up getting a pardon back down to the States.
How old are you now when you're doing this?
What's that?
How old are you now when you decide?
I was 34. I just turned 34. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to make a fucking comeback, and I'm going to go and play in the best league in Europe after 10 years off the ice because I was in the best shape of my life. I was doing kickboxing. I was doing fucking, I was running up mountains. I was just like, everything was focused on health. And I was like, I'm in better shape now. I mean, I pick up a stick and get my talent back like that. And so I rented the ice in North Vancouver for 6 months straight. 6 days a week. I was on that ice with a bunch of NHL guys. I like fucking. So I threw a skate. What's that?
How'd you do?
Unreal. I was like 100 times better at 34 than I was when I was fucking 22, 23. And now I had the mindset and the physical well-being too. I was stronger. And I mean, I was fucking out there just dominating. Even like we went hard out there. It was like, you know how it is. NHL
So
guys
what
are pretty
happened?
competitive, huh?
So you get to go to Europe?
So, well, I wasn't allowed to go to the States, obviously, because of my ban, and I got a tryout over in Martin, Slovakia, to play in the Extraliga, and I said, "What the fuck? Why not?" It's what I thought I wanted. I went over there, I made the team, dominated, and at the end of the day, I was like, I don't even fucking want this anymore. I don't even care. I'm like, this was closure. So that was closure to everything. So I was like, I'm gonna
Well,
have
that
to be
makes
on.
a lot of sense, bro.
What's that?
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So so I end up going to partying all over Europe for 2 months. I end up going to Ibiza, Barcelona, fucking Amsterdam, fucking all over Europe, and I blew my head off for like 2 months and just partied like a fucking rock star. But I donated all my equipment to the guys in Slovakia. I said I had like 24 brand new Easton sticks and gear. I said, "Here you go, guys." They didn't even fucking understand. None of them spoke English, for fuck's sakes.
I've heard some crazy stories about guys with their gear, like they lit it on fire, or like they threw it in the ocean, or they left it there at the rink, or something. Oh,
Fuck.
that's
Yeah.
awesome. Now you're becoming an international sensation with these bike rides across the country. They're doing Nat Geo shows about you. Tell us about and then you did it in Cambodia 3 times, maybe?
Yeah, I rode across Cambodia in 2012 to help eradicate human trafficking and child sex slavery. And the United States government found out about that. Anything that is harmful towards kids, an adult abusing a child, to me, is the biggest piece of fucking shit in the world. So whatever I could do to help out with that, I had that opportunity. I was over there filming a documentary about happiness, about returning to happiness, because my life had literally fallen to shambles over money and fucking greed and bullshit, all that stuff. I wanted to compartmentalize everything into a film that would inspire people to do good in the fucking world. And so I went to fight. I went to fight for, child sex slavery and human trafficking. I did that 2 years in a row. I rode across Vietnam, Cambodia, and then in 2019, I got away out of that spectrum. I was more about like what I got to do for my own mental health and for my brothers, the people I fucking care about the most. A lot of guys, in the hockey world, and just, first responders, and anybody that's suffered brain injury or PTSD or any of that shit. And so I rode across 5 countries in 2019, humbly, not announcing it or anything like that or whatever.
Hey, tell us the story about when fucking the cops pulled you over, Ryan.
Oh, fuck. Jesus. What time?
Come on, Philly.
Yeah. It'd be like the interstate, but it's the big Highway 1 in Canada.
The time when you looked him dead in the eye and you were like, listen.
Yeah, look, I was about 100 kilometers in, and it was about 38 fucking degrees that day. I was hot as a fucking I was hot. I was sweating like a pig, and next thing I know, I got one behind. Just kidding. Next thing I know, I got a cop behind me. And so he comes up to me and he goes, and I'm just drenched in fucking sweat, and he's like, "What are you doing out here? You're not allowed to be on this highway. You know that." And I was like, "Listen, man, I'm riding my bike across the country. I started at mile 0 at the Terry Fox Pavilion. If no one knows who Terry Fox is, he was a one-legged gentleman that lost his leg from cancer, and he tried running across Canada on one leg to advocate for
Shout out
cancer
to Terry
awareness."
Fox.
So, what's that?
Shout out to Terry Fox.
Fucking right. Shout out to Terry Fox all the way, a true Canadian hero. And
true Canadian hero, Terry Fox. I know who you are.
Actually, a true hero of the world, really.
Really?
Fuck borders, right? Fucking the world. People of the world. Doesn't matter where the fuck you're from. If you're doing good in the world, I love you. But I got this cop behind me. He goes, "What the fuck?" He goes, "What are you doing out here?" I said, "I'm going across the country to advocate mental health awareness, and I'm not getting off this bike." So he's like, "Well, you're not supposed to be on this highway." And I'm like, "I know, but I'm going to keep going." He goes, "Well, do you want me to?"
What did he fucking did he have a shit right there?
No, he loved it. He goes, that is so beautiful. He said, he goes, thank you. He goes, thank you
Hey,
so much.
shout out to that cop. I hope you hear this fucking message from me, Billy the Kid. I love you, buddy. That was a great move you did.
Yeah, it was really cool. And so he's like, do you want me to drive in front of you until you get to your next destination? And I'll help you even get a place to stay tonight. And I was like, no, accommodation's already good to go, but hell, why not? I'm like, he's like, I'm going to drive in front of you with the cherries just to like commemorate it and make it something special. And he actually called all the precincts in front of me and to let them know to leave me alone and just give me shouts out as I went across, different cities going across Canada. And, even when I got into Quebec, I saw two cops right away and they knew that I was coming and I got a hug from one and a high five from the other.
Wow.
So, and the next thing you know, there was 4 days left. I had 800 kilometers to go with 4 days left to reach my goal, which was doing it in 2 months. And it was 6,800 kilometers. I don't know what that is in miles. I think it's like about 5,400 miles, something like that. So it's a long journey. I was doing like 120 clicks average a day, something like that. I could hardly fucking walk. I had to hit the hospital. I was smoking 5 joints a day.
That's one of the more wilder things. Like you figured with something like that, you'd be like Lance Armstrong type.
I'm not all there.
Yeah, you're not all there. Hey, hang on one sec. I got my allergies are fucking with me. They've been sneezing all day and everything. Hold on. Yeah, man, I've been fucking sneezing all day. What's the weather like out there right now?
Oh, it's fucking shit. It's well, not shit. It's cold.
Yeah, it's nice out here today, but my allergies weren't bad all summer, and then the past 2 days, 3 days. Anyways, let's kick back into the road trip. So you're finishing at the road trip. By the end of the road trip, did you have press attention now? Because you started out anonymously, didn't you?
I started out just, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to be making a big production out of this other than my own. We documented the whole thing on film. And
so did you document people coming in a car and you were on a bike?
I had a film crew driving ahead, but the next thing you know, obviously when there's a guy going across the country on a bike, it gets attention. And so blessings to CBC, Global, CTV. I was doing interviews in all the major cities, even the smaller cities that, I think I probably did, in 60 days, I probably did over 100 interviews in 60 days. And
my question is, what changed for you to for wanting to give so much back and bring so much attention to such a worthy cause?
Well, you know what? That is beautiful that you said such a worthy cause. Is that I believe that mental illness, a lot of mental illness, it starts in childhood with trauma and trauma that we've experienced throughout life with shit that's been thrown at us that we don't deserve. Okay, that causes a feeling. And I'm very empathetic towards people. I love people. And so whatever I could do to send a positive message through my vessel, so to speak, I would do that with courage and integrity. And I've had head trauma, obviously, with hockey. That is,
How do you think head trauma plays into like all this? Is my camera good on me? Is it like scented?
No, you're good. You look great, buddy. Your hair, you don't have a hair out of place.
Trauma, and do you like? I remember like people talk about concussions and this and that, and everyone thinks like so I never have like thrown up or anything like that.
Yeah.
So there was never any.
You want me to talk to you about that?
You could feel your brain shake really.
Yeah, I can talk to you about that if you want.
Yeah. So obviously. We got all afternoon. You're my only guest today. I had to fucking push everyone back a week. I got the Canadian superstar humanitarian hockey player on here. And worthy cause. Mental illness is everywhere, all around us. And
I call it society illness right now.
I feel like it's very irresponsible and almost arrogant for people to label and judge people that are these this or that. They like to throw the bipolar thing around a lot.
Yeah, I was misdiagnosed with bipolar.
Yeah, I mean, it is comical. That's why I talk about it.
Well, that's why I call it society illness. It's what society is mental illness to me in many aspects. It's society that is making people mentally ill. Saying, oh, what, you're not allowed to be sad because you lost a fucking friend. Somebody died in your life, or you lost a relationship with somebody that you loved. You suffered some head trauma, and all of a sudden you're bipolar or you're depressed. No, we're human. We're allowed to feel. You never know what's going on with somebody internally. We're all fighting our own internal battles at the end of the day.
Sure.
We're driven on the human emotions. So my emotions were definitely heightened because of concussions. My emotions were heightened because I went through a bad breakup and I lost a best friend at the time due to substance abuse. And
I think for you, just knowing you in this short time, being on these hockey teams, and for me, like going to another country to these hockey teams, like you said earlier, you think like you're gonna meet this guy who's gonna be inspirational and really fucking smart and teach you the game, and you're really gonna learn it the Canadian way. And then you got a kid putting a fucking meatball on your shoe, and you're like, whoa, I didn't come here for this. Like just a small example, you know what I mean? Or like
we got the hot box. We got thrown in the
fucking
fucking can, butt naked with all our clothes tied in fucking knots for 2 hours. We had one guy on our team that was having a severe anxiety panic attack. I'm claustrophobic trying to keep everybody together. There was 8 of us in the back of the bathroom, butt naked, and we couldn't come out of that fucking bathroom until all our clothes were untied, okay? And we had to have our actual clothes on.
Who are the guys that are making you do this?
Veteran players were making us do that at the time.
What are their names on Regina?
This wasn't Regina. No, this wasn't Regina. I'm not going to name names because I don't want to get into the whole.
Listen, let's move on then, because I don't want to talk about what gets me angry. Listen, next thing you know, it does get me very angry.
Yeah, it gets me pissed off, and I don't want resentments.
Yeah. I couldn't. I shut the Nat Geo show off at the Hazen pot. I was like, I can't watch this.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the whole episode.
Words can really hurt too, and so I mean, I've been. I feel like I'm like the anti-bully. So I just like kind of try to put the information out there. And a lot of things that people are trying to control the narrative all the time. And that's one thing that I made up even t-shirts. Go to @BillyTibbett's merch on Instagram and buy some merch. Control the narrative. That's what people try to do. And they try to recreate history. And these guys that aren't happy with their hockey, they're trying to like make themselves like put themselves up here. And it's just all sorts of like mentalness surrounded by hockey and fame. You get well known when you're a hockey player. Like you said, when you went back to your hometown, the guy's buying you. He's like, oh, this is my buddy, the pro hockey player. You weren't even playing pro at the time, but he wants to tell your buddies that you're a pro and this and that. It's just like, it's just a big fucking
smoke and mirrors.
A big cycle of madness. And these people and there's actually people who aren't involved saying they're involved, and you're like, it's just weird. It's just really awkward. And if you don't live it like we've lived it, the hockey life, you can never really understand it. And that's why I believe that the sense of humor that you have and I have towards all this is fucking unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I gotta make fun of myself, you know?
It's, instead of calling it the National Hockey League, they should call it the National Hard League.
The National what league?
The National Hard League.
Hard
it's not
league.
even. It's, you know, all the guys I've talked to ever in my life that have played in the National Hockey League, it's like they have these same discussions. You know, it's like the commonalities are so, unless you're Sidney Crosby or Connor McDavid, the guys that are like untradeable. You know, it's a lot of these guys they all go through the same shit. It's just a different level. That's all it is.
It's so funny though too that all these podcasts are popping off. But like I said yesterday, and if you're afraid to fucking talk or say the truth, you got no business fucking having a podcast.
Exactly.
I mean,
I pride my podcast on that. I pride my podcast on truth. That's it. You know what? You want to swear? Swear. You don't want to swear? Don't swear. Just be you. Be yourself. I can't wait to have you on my podcast.
Yeah, I hope I'm good. I hope people like me.
No, people will love you.
I hope so, dude. I'm really trying.
You're an entertainer, for Christ's sakes. People
I
love
know,
real.
We've been doing it, and it is a show. I mean, like,
damn right it is.
I like talking about mental illness because it's all around us. And if it's all around you, right, you get to be aware if you are, if you aren't. Like, you know, when the people, it's very dangerous to a kid or to, like, for these students out there or their fucking teachers being like, oh, that kid's crazy or his family's this or his, you know, it's very irresponsible. And I always wanted to become an adult so I could say this to kids. I'm like, you're hurting that kid by saying something like, say this like he fights at home with his brother, and then say they're in school together. They'll be like, oh, this one, that one. Like, it's just irresponsible. These people, they're supposed to be teachers and leaders and people in the community, the selectmen, the surveyors, the town clerk, the town manager. All these people that run these towns have a responsibility to the community to better that community, not hurt these people. Little League coaches and Little League reps and hockey directors and the people that pick these teams, picking their own kids instead of the best kids and all this shit that's wrong with, like, the world that people don't talk about.
How's that beer going down?
Oh, yeah, I got 4 beers in now. So are you totally sober?
What's that?
Are you totally sober or just the weed?
No, I smoke weed. Yeah, I mean, fuck. I put enough alcohol for fucking 20 lifetimes and 1,000 lifetimes in my body. I mean, I used to give her so hard back in the day, be up for days, you know, drinking, coking, and fucking MDMA and ecstasy and all that shit. I've done fucking every drug under the fucking sun. And you know what? The only plant-based natural medicine that helps this kid's fucking brain and actually takes me into a higher level of awareness, so to speak, is the mighty plant of fucking marijuana.
Do you like edibles?
Hold on a sec.
Jackie, you listening?
Yeah, I am. This is awesome.
Okay, good. Hey, we may edit that whole
okay?
Do
I like edibles? I mean, I don't. Look, I'll tell you a funny story about edibles. These chocolates right here. Okay, I ate way too much a few weeks ago. I ate like fucking. You're supposed to only have like one chunk off the chocolate. It's like beautiful Belgian chocolate edibles. A friend of mine makes them. It's like from Sweet Joint Remedies or whatever. And I took fucking 5 of them. And I literally, for fucking 2 days, I felt like I was sinking through my bed like Freddy Krueger in that fucking movie years ago. It was not a pleasant.
One thing that's been on my mind all afternoon is tell us about your pornography career.
But my pornography career.
I heard there's a lot out there, and I heard your name was Big Dick Philly, and I was like, okay. I was like, I'm gonna have to check it out. I went on the, and there you are, the porn star, Ryan Phillips.
Yeah, hey, listen, we're gonna be completely transparent here. I did date porn star of the year girl. Her name was Malaysia.
Oh, do you have a porn movie? I was only joking.
She actually was one of the Vivid girls back in the day that was run by.
What's her name so we can look her up? Sorry.
Malaysia, yeah. I don't want to say her real name is Catherine. She wouldn't mind. We're good friends anyways back in the day. She'll fucking laugh her balls off.
Hilarious.
But yeah, I dated a porn star, and I would walk down the street in Vancouver, and they were filming a show. It was called Web Dreams. And she was like, "Will you be my boyfriend in the show?" And I was like, "Fuck." I thought about it. I told my old man, I was like, "Yeah, so I'm dating this porn star right now, Dad." And he was just shaking his head,
He must have been so fired up for you.
Oh, he was so fucking. Was I fired up?
No, he was probably so proud.
Show. He goes, "If you fucking go on that show, don't ever show your face around this family ever again, ever in your life."
Oh yeah, I think my dad would say the same.
I was like, just joking. But I would walk down the fucking street with this gal, and I mean, she was great. I had so much fun with this girl. It was hilarious. At the time, I had a cigarette boat. We'd be out my cigarette boat.
Can you describe her so we can get a visual, please?
She was from Montreal. Beautiful, dark hair. Let's just talk. 11 out of 10 legitimate smoke show.
Wow, good for you. Love it.
Back in the old days. Yeah, you know, I'm actually going to eat a CBD gummy right now because
I think you should.
What's that?
I think you should.
Well, I definitely should because it calms me down a little bit, and I'm all fired up.
Are you? Oh, you're being an unbelievable guest on the Billy Big Time Show.
I mean, I took my CBD. I always take at least, you know, I take about 5 drops in the morning. This helps with PTSD too. The CBD helps. It helps with inflammation, all kinds of shit. So, but now this is a CBD gummy. I mean, I got the THC gummies too, but the CBD. It's like it's like a fucking Legoland. It's like awesome. A piece of Lego. So I'm gonna eat the whole thing.
Awesome. Yeah.
And it tastes good.
Yeah.
But I couldn't send you some of these in the mail, but then I get fucking busted for international fucking gummy smoking.
It's all right, man. I smoke as much pot as I want to. I got some
prescription.
Yeah, man. I'm just psyched. I have more questions for you though.
Yeah.
Do you mind? Do you mind, bro?
No, fuck. I'm out, dude. I got nothing to do today, but be on the fucking Big Time Show.
But we'll do 5 more minutes, and we'll take a piss, and then we'll do another half hour, or another 20. All right, cool. So it's up to Jackie, really, though. But anyways, I could go all afternoon. Who was the best player you ever played with on the ice that made it to be the best player?
I would say Paul Correa, and in junior, Valerie Bure.
Me too. I played against him when I was in Tri-Cities, and he was in Spokane. He was excellent.
Valerie Bure could fucking go.
He had a good line mate too. Who was his line mate?
His line mate was Paxton Schulte.
No, not that. No. I'm thinking of another guy.
Okay. Steve Duthie. Steve Duthie.
He got a lot of points in Spokane.
Yeah, he did. Well, Burry had like 140.
I don't think it's that kid either. I think this guy was like a power forward left shot maybe for Spokane.
It was funny because I was in the dressing room in the summertime.
Sorry, go.
We were all in the in Vancouver. I practiced all the Canuck boys, and you know, Bure would be there with his brother, and his dad would be Vlad. The dad would be there and shit. And I remember me and Trevor Linden used to work out together in the summertime. We all had like the same trainer, and I didn't show up very often because I was hungover. But fucking, I remember asking Linden. I said, I'm like, fuck, I'm like, Valerie's so small, and Pavel's just fucking jacked out of his fucking tree. And then Linden just shook his head. He said, I shouldn't say what he said, right? But well, fuck him. He said that's when because one brother's on vitamin S and the other one's just taking vitamin C.
Yeah.
So,
one was on the roids. Yeah, all the Russians are on the roids.
Oh fuck! Not just Russians. Fuck it. I think I've done them.
I've never done steroids, to be totally honest with you.
I didn't need to. I never did like a full cycle or whatever the fuck it was. Everybody on my team was doing them. So it was like, it just seemed like...
I had a trainer when I was 13. My dad got me a trainer when I was 13 years old, and he was shout out to Ari Shockett and Saul Shockett and the Shockett family, and he was a deadlift champ. He deadlifted like over 800 pounds, and he was like 100 and he was a little guy, and he was a powerhouse, and he was the deadlift champion. He set the record, and I think it was high eights in the like 125 pound class or the 148 pound class or whatever it was. But he was a powerhouse, and Ari was my goalie on my youth hockey team, and he had his own gym in it was Saul's All Sports. And after BC High, I would go there in the off season and stuff like that. So I was lifting weights from 13 years old on, and I really benefited from the weight work that I did when I was locked up too. I kept mentally sharp through exercise.
We had no weight piles at our jail. We had to put water into garbage bags. And then put shirts over top of the garbage bags and use a broomstick.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's fucking bullshit. That sucks. I know. That's the same thing that they got to do now. But yeah,
I think they took weights out of all like Fed pens and state pens. I heard.
There's a lot of places who still have it, but there's a lot of places who it's totally gone. And you'll be lucky to have a chin-up bar. So anyways, listen, so what did you think about like life after hockey and doing all this now, and like where are you headed? Where are you headed with like now with your new fame, and you got a podcast, and you really turned your life around, and people really are respecting you, and you know if you're getting like a guy like Jimmy Thompson on your show today, and Dodie Wood, you said you were friends with him, and you got a lot of good connections. I'm very proud of you for that. That's amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. So I guess, I mean, All Over the Map podcast is pretty much my passion right now. Is there's really not a whole lot of things that we can really do as far as like in action, you know, in the community, so to speak, as far as like, say, you know, I was going to write, what's that?
With the COVID?
With the C word, the other C. I never say that word. I fucking hate it.
Corona?
I like the beer.
Too bad about that company, eh? That's pretty wild.
Fuck. You know what? It's very unfortunate. I think on the other side of things, hopefully things will be better. It gives people
what are they saying up in the fucking Great White North? Oh, the west side of it.
On the west side, yeah. You know what? It's a thing, obviously, but like, you know,
you guys gotta wear masks everywhere, brother.
I heard it's a lot worse down in your neck of the way. Down south, I heard it's the worst in the United States. That's
you know what? I haven't paid any attention because I'm in the world. I do my show.
Well, I don't fucking watch TV.
I everyone else and what they're saying and what they're I don't believe a half of what these people even saying.
I think it could be. I got to be careful what I say here, maybe, but whatever. Look, my truth is that I think that it could be human created to actually, you know, control population. I think that it's taking way more people out.
Why do you think you have to be careful, like saying that, like?
Well, my old man told me he said, when you get on your podcast, make sure you don't, you know, Corona is a real sensitive subject with some people, but you know what? Okay. So it's
your old man, how old is he?
He's 74, but I respect
my old man just passed away 2 days before his 72nd birthday. I love you, Dad.
I love him too.
Hey, that's awesome. He sounds like the
Mr.
man.
He
sounds like what's his name?
Grant.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I said that I got interviewed at the Vancouver airport when it first hit. I had to come. I was in Los Angeles. I was at a film festival. I was coming back.
Porn festival?
No.
Yeah, right.
No, far from it. But I got interviewed by Global, and they said, so what was it like in Los Angeles? And what was it like at the airport? And I said, the truth is, I said, it was like the night of the living fucking dead. It was like zombie land. People with starting to wear masks and shit. There was nobody. It was like the streets of LA were like dead. It was a dead zone. And they said, what do you think is going to be is in the future with this whole COVID thing? And straight up, I said, this is going to take way more people out on the mental health aspect of things and addiction. What do addicts turn to right off the bat, if they're not in recovery? Isolation. When they isolate, they use. For people that are mentally ill, that are suffering through depression or anxiety, whatever, what do they need the most? Human connection. So when you isolate people and put them in a fucking box, what kind of human connection do you have through that? That's why it's good that right now that you have your podcast, I got my All Over the Map podcast. We help each other out in any ways. There's so many different ways and crossovers right now that actually you can have connection, even though it's like this, to plan for the future when all this bullshit's over. I want to get hockey players, guys like the Doty Woods, guys like, maybe you have on your show, whatever, that we'll get some big caravan. We'll go across the United States and we'll help. We'll give back to mental illness or shit like that.
Are you fucking kidding me? You get all these maniacs in a fucking caravan.
Oh, yeah.
We'll be stopping at the first goddamn liquor store. There'll be a fight.
No, that's what me and Jim Thompson will be there for. We'll be there to keep you guys all sober.
Yeah, good luck to that.
Hey, no judgments. Hey, people can have as much. We should actually get a beer company to sponsor us.
Oh yeah, well let's go. I'm not allowed into Canada, so
no, we don't do Canada. Listen. I rode my bike across Canada already.
You're going to have to talk, since you're such a big shot now, you're going to have to talk to that Trudeau guy and get me fucking access to Canada.
I don't got it. Yeah, you know what? I will. But the next thing after this thing is over is actually...
I'm mad at you guys. I'm so mad at Canada. I've been wicked mad at Canada for so long. I used to love it when I was a little kid, and then it grew up to be like part of the reason why it didn't work. The part of the reason I'm not in the Hall of Fame is because of Canada. Yeah.
I can say the same thing about the United States.
There. I couldn't go there to play. Half the teams are there. 6 teams. I would miss 24 games. It doesn't matter. What anyways. Another thing I wanted to ask you about is do you ever skate anymore? Like just in a men's league or anything?
I wish that all the rinks are closed here right now.
No, but before the past couple years.
But you know what? I have a tough time with that because you get out there and you get these guys that still think they're scouts in the stands. Next thing you know, you're getting hacked on the fucking side of the leg. And
of course.
Sometimes I can, at this age, I can lose my temper more when a grown man fucking.
Have you had any fucking scraps lately on the street or anything?
The last time I did, I put the guy in the hospital and he had fucking...
Tell us about it, brother.
Well, I was actually sober and he was trying to get me to drink all fucking night. He kept pushing it in my face and he pushed me. So I threw him up against the fucking wall and he hit his head on the corner of the door hinge and he split his head from fucking here all the way to the back and is flapping right over. You can see his skull. And I drove with him in the paramedics to the fucking hospital. He had to get about 100 staples fucking from here to the other side of his head. It was fucking brutal. I hurt people, unfortunately, off the ice. I could have been a fighter. I have it in me, but I don't like hurting people.
Yeah, no, neither do I, buddy. Neither do I.
So I got it in me.
So listen, say that again.
I said, but I got it in me.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, like we were talking yesterday. I was very small, but I had great skating and balance. It was like my feet were on rails, really. And I could never get unless the guy hit me from behind, I never got knocked off my feet. Anyways, my dad always told me, with the you got to lower your shoulder and bend your knees, stuff like that, and brace for the hit, but be going full speed, because then they don't want to hit you if you're going full speed. It's scary to them how fast I could actually skate. They would get fearful of my just the energy I was coming for. Even if I had the puck, I could skate faster with the puck. But he told me at an early age. He said, Billy, he said, I took a really bad hit one time, and he's like, I was really young too, and he was my coach, and I come back crying, and he said, you got to use your stick. These guys are gonna, you got to hit somebody with this. It's the equalizer. And I was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like, I'm bigger than them because I'm willing to hit them harder with my stick than they're willing to really hit me. I didn't really give a fuck if, like, I got a 2-minute penalty if I really fucking hurt the kid, because he would remember the next time we played them.
Don't come near me.
Yeah, well, I mean, just don't fucking abuse me.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I remember playing against you at that Vegas camp. I remember playing against you, and I remember playing. Well, I played against you when you were in Tri-Cities, but you weren't there very long. I think I just played maybe one game against you, or two. Once in Tri-Cities, once in Tacoma. I remember that because my long-term memory is pretty good. And then I remember playing against you in Vegas, and I was like, "What?" You were wearing a Jofa helmet, but I was like, "Why is this guy not fucking like?" I remember I remember your skill set. I remember your talent. And I remember you just, you stood out. Like, I remember you definitely stood out. And I was one of those guys, I analyzed players. Like, I was definitely.
So tell us about, like, give us the whole story then. Here we go.
Well, I remember it was like a 4-day tournament at the practice facility for the Las Vegas Thunder at the time of the IHL. 1994, I think it was. David Wilkie was there with his Astro van. Me and him were buddies from Regina. So I don't know what he didn't play in it was like some sort of showcase pre-NHL draft. Remember that? Do you remember being there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And then there was all those fucking scouts that were there from like East Coast League teams. And, I guess there was NHL scouts there as well. And, God, I remember it just being a shit show. 4 days straight. I remember being out every night out in the strip, out in the town, out with Wilkes, out in his fucking Astro. It was all done out with a big sound system inside it and shit like that. But I remember playing against you, and you probably didn't do it on purpose, but there was this guy in our team who was a bit of a pussyfoot, and I think he jabbed you or something like that, and you turned around and whacked him. And you probably hit his shoulder, but I think you might have hit his head too.
What do you mean? Was it like a baseball
swing?
A
baseball bat. It was, kind of like a hockey stick, but with like a baseball. You probably don't remember that, do you?
I remember something happened in front of the bench.
In front of the bench. Yes, it was in front of the bench.
Yeah, but I've really never swung my stick like a baseball bat above the shoulders.
But after that happened, the rest of the game, I didn't want to go anywhere near you. I don't want to go anywhere near this guy. Fuck. So it does send a message if you do it the right way.
So tell us this story again. I'm fucking blown away.
Yeah, it was well. The funny thing is because I remember
I was fighting in that camp too. I think I know I elbowed a kid. And the guy was my friend, but I was playing for keeps. I elbowed a kid in the ear, and he wasn't my friend really that much, though. I knew who he was. He was from Rhode Island, Scott Parmentier. And I was like, ooh, this guy's pretty good. I better fucking test him. I better see what he's made of. I went over. I skated up behind him on the back check, and I could have checked him, but instead of checking him, I'm like, nah, it'd be better if I elbowed him in the ear as hard as I could. And I took half the kid's ear off.
Christ. Yeah, that was oh boy.
So what happened in front of the benches? What are you saying I did?
Well, I think what happened,
elbow, but I don't remember. I never baseball swung a guy because when I was a rookie with Johnstown, I knew I was playing for keeps when I was in Erie one day. And I was back checking. I was really into it, right? I was like the number one center on the team. Like I was like a 21-year-old kid, number one center. Nicky Fitio's trusting me, giving me all the ice.
Did you play with Job?
Yes. He was the number one center, but I was like his right. I did all the work. Trevor Job, I love you, but I did all the work. And we traded him halfway through the year. I think we got Donnie Parsons for him or something. But Donnie got like 50 that year. Shout out to Donnie Parsons. Legendary fucking hockey player from Massachusetts. Anyways, I'm going back up the ice. this guy did me dirty in the corner. I forget what he did, but I was pissed. And he was a big older guy. I look at the stats. You know, this guy's 6'3", 225, played in the American League some, but he's in the coast right now. Did me dirty, right? I don't know who it was. He was a right shot, though. I always remember right shots, left shot. So I'm going back up the ice. The next thing you know, I give him a whack behind the legs. He fucking, a whack that would have dropped most guys. He turned around and he went, whoa, right? And I was a fucking baseball guy too, right? He went, whoa, right at my, and I just went like this. This is all I could do to save my life. I never wore a shield. I went like that. I just dipped my, he hit me right on the CCM part. If he hit me here, I would have been actually dead, really.
Oh.
I went over backwards, and the guy just skipped, no penalty, no nothing. And that's, oh, no, I think the guy got thrown out, and he got suspended like 1 game. And I was like, ooh, that guy got 1 game for trying to kill me. Wasn't that how it was, though? It was,
yeah.
Paid. When
that's
I knew
how it was
I was
back
fucking,
then.
Playing for money. Like, guys, this guy has like, and the Canadian guys are the craziest, really.
Go figure.
I mean, you guys grew up like fighting. You're like a bunch of Vikings.
I know.
I got cross-checked my first goal in Niagara Falls. It was either Larry Corville or Ethan Morrow. I tell the story all the time. I apologize if you guys have heard it before. But my dad drove 8 hours, right? I talked to him the night before. I'm staying at the coach's, I'm staying at the scout who signed me. Because I had to get, Guelph, I think, was trying to sign me too or something. And I signed with London. And anyways, I think whatever happened, I go, Dad, I'm in the lineup tomorrow. I think I made a practice one time, maybe not even know. And I got there, they threw me right in there, right on first line, right, boom. And I'm like, holy shit, I'm playing with the best player in the league, Jason Allison. And I'm like, this is crazy. Like, I'm like, here I am. And I wasn't doing good in the USHL because it sucked. Like, the kids were like all programmed to like dump it in every time. Like, I was right there, dude, what the fuck? So the next right? It wasn't a good hockey. And the OHL was like the NHL for fucking teenagers. And
yeah.
I'm like, this is crazy. Like, they didn't think I was like, put it that way. I just said it. That's the NHL, and then the USHL is like, it's maybe now different. I don't know. Anyways, I'm like, my first cross corner dump. I go in, I get it. Body position, cross crease, backhand, tuck it in. As soon as I put my hands up, I get cross-checked from behind in the back, right? I'm the only American, I think, Jason Bonsignor was on the other team. But I'm like, holy fuck. Like, right when that happened, I knew I had to fight him. Kid pumped me. I went back to the bench. You know what they said to me? They said, oh, good fight. And I got pumped. I'm like, oh, what do you mean good fight? I just I fucking stopped him from pumping me, and then they broke it up. But he jumped me, really. It was a yard sale. I almost broke my neck. I'm like, this kid's 6'3" doing this to me. Like, I'm 6'1", I'm 163, 165. And I'm like, wow, this is crazy. Like, and my dad's in the stands, right? So anyways, they're all telling me good fight. And then I turned to the kid beside me. I think it was like Fred or Ryan Appel or someone, or Danny Rea. And they go, you won that fight. I go, why do they keep saying good fight every one? And I go, I got pumped. Like, I'm a realist, you know? That's the best thing about my show is I'm a realist. And, I got the best show in the world. Thanks for coming on it. So I said, why is everyone batting me on the back? I didn't get beat up like that, but I took a couple shots, and I didn't have any marks or blood or anything, but I got beat up. Ethan Morrow, thanks for kicking my ass. Yeah, it was hilarious. And then he goes, Billy, you won that fight as soon as you dropped your gloves because the kids on the team respected, but I had to. Like, when the guys try to cross-check you in the face, that's why I fought Eric Carnes or Luke Richardson. I was trying to play hockey all the time. These guys just kept trying to fight me everywhere. Yeah, I wanted to be like, I feel like fighting hurt my career, kind of.
Yeah.
It was fucking weird like that, though. But yeah, I remember meeting you in Vegas too. And I told you that story. I did a spinorama to the inside of the ice. Kids, when you're doing spinoramas, do it on the, if you're a righty, do it on the left wing side. If you're a lefty, do it on the right wing side. Don't do spinoramas to the middle. Do them to the outside because the cross D-man, the weak side D-man, will come across and clean your clock. And I got hit in the chest and almost caved my whole body in at the Seattle one. And then I went from Seattle to Edmonton to Vegas where I met you. Yeah, or maybe Vegas was first or third or something. But I remember being in that Astro van driving cross country with Grant Stanbrook and Mr. Wilkie and David. I think they all took flights. I think David.
Dave Wilkie that guy was so skilled. I played against Dave Wilkie in minor hockey. He
What
played
an
for
awesome family too.
Oh, great family. The old man was amazing. But that, I mean, he was a hell of a hockey player. He had a fucking rocket from the point. Holy shit. But such natural ability, that guy. I don't think
it really fucking changed my hockey career. My dad sent me out to Seattle. And I was a 2 week. You said 4 days in Vegas. It was like 2 weeks, I think.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
it was 2 weeks. Sorry.
I might have had a couple blackouts in between.
It doesn't matter, but I spent 6 weeks that summer in with the Wilkies. My dad paid for my flight out there, and then do you have to go somewhere or anything?
No.
Okay.
I was just checking it. I gotta cut my fucking nails later.
Oh yeah, I always have fucking No, don't worry about it, dude. Yeah, if you got like, it's like guys that like worry about what clothes they wear. I'm like, buddy,
I can give a fuck.
Who gives a fuck?
Look at me.
Anyways, So I went back. That was my. I was gonna have to. I went to Tacoma actually. I was gonna tell you this last night.
Yeah.
I went to Tacoma. I lived with Dale Purinton.
I know Dale. Dale lives with my.
Yeah, go ahead. I went to camp.
Did you live at Ken and Mary's house?
No, we stayed in a hotel together.
Okay. All right.
In his first year, and I was gonna be there as a overager. But in the training camp, I cut my hand real bad on the kid's tooth, and then my whole arm from my wrist to my shoulder became. I thought I fell on my elbow, but I got an infection in my hand. I just put my glove. You know, you get in a fight, hit a guy on the tooth, put your hand back in the glove. You know what I mean? So I ended up getting an infection in my hand, and went up to. But I thought I fell on my elbow. It was all pus. It was fucking disgusting, and it was like you couldn't.
You probably broke the bursa sock.
Yeah, it was gross.
Yeah, I got the same. The exact fucking same shit. My fucking elbow is just, look at that.
Oh yeah, you got to get that taken care of.
On both, for fuck's sake.
That's different though. My shit started getting so bad where they said you gotta fucking get on antibiotics and you can't do anything except take this antibiotics for 6 weeks. My arm was the same size from my bicep all the way down to my wrist.
Hey.
It's fucking nuts. And because I kept playing hurt. I'm like, no, I'm fine. It must be an elbow bruise, a really bad one. But it was just it got worse and worse. I finally went to the hospital and I just was like, fuck. And then, then after that, I think I went to camp in Birmingham Bulls. Phil Roberto, legendary Montreal Canadian. And then, he picked me. And we were off and running then. Yeah, I was roommates with Brad Smith, Smitty Shooter. Remember we talked about a couple guys last night. I forget if he was one of them. Craig Crusher Johnson. Yep. And do you know who he is?
Yeah.
Central League. All right, so listen, we just took a little potty break, and thank you for that. My fucking bladder was going to explode. I had explosive diarrhea. I had to come right back. I had to clean up the whole bath.
I had that 2 days ago. Fuck me.
I'm only kidding. Oh, you're the best.
Pissing out my ass. Fuck.
I got hemorrhoids. I got warts.
I'm kidding.
Me too. Trust me. I'm fucking. For the women out there, let's get it. We got Brazzers, xxx.com Brazzers. superstar Ryan Phillips back in the building.
Oh, fuck. Hilarious. What a fucking life.
This whole time I didn't know. Look, so these glasses, have you ever seen the movie Snatch?
Of course.
So I'm the crime boss in the movie Snatch. That guy with the yellow teeth and the fucking thick laugh, that's me. Fucking awesome. Awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah, awesome. I get a picture of my brother and the Pens. I love the Penguins. The Rangers all right, the Phillies all right.
Pens are my favorite team of all time. I'm a fucking Mario Lemieux.
Oh yeah, and he didn't disappoint. He did not disappoint. He was an awesome guy.
I met Mario when I was.
You know what he liked about me? I didn't try to ride his coattails. I was like, I'm gonna make my own mark.
I remember meeting him when I was a kid. My dad was working for this fair play program in Vancouver, so I met him at the Pacific Coliseum in 1988-89. He scored 199 points that year, 85 goals, and I remember he walked into the room.
Who fucking does that?
Who does that? Well, he could hardly fucking bend over and tie his fucking skates. And
unreal. He was such a joy to play with.
Wow. But he came into that room and you could feel his presence just like that. And he took time. There was over 100 kids and he took time to sign card after card after card, jerseys, sat there and talked to kids.
I fucking love the guy.
Oh, man. I'm
not gonna lie. And I think he likes me too. I hope he does.
I've never heard anyone say a bad word about Mario, really. I've never,
I also heard this story one time. Someone asked me that, and I go, yeah, he's a great guy. And I started saying, oh, he's Cincinnati. And they go, yeah, of course, he's Mario Lemieux. And I had to ask him, I go, what do you mean by that? I was a little offended. And he goes, yeah, who's going to be a fucking, he don't have a problem in the world. I'm like everyone kisses his ass. And this was a tough guy, undersized tough guy from the IHL, 500 minutes a year. And I was like, I saw him on a train one time. I won't say who he is, but shout out to him. And I was like, ooh, this guy looks like a fucking pro boxer. I go, hey, I don't mean to fucking get you back. You go boxer? I mean, I play hockey. I know about, throwing the mitts a little bit. And then, cause I box some too, so, and I'm like, yeah, he said that statement to me. It kind of changed me. I was like, I like that way of thinking. Because I'm not a conspiracy theorist by any stretch of the imagination. My sister one time said to me, she goes, I said something about a conspiracy theory to my sister one time. I was like, well, don't you believe this? I mean, it's a good argument, right, at the time. And she goes, be careful who you say that to. And I was like, oh, why do people say that to me out there? Like everything I say, be careful. I'm like, what? I'm not allowed to say what I think. And I'm not a conspiracy. I don't think any of the conspiracy theories are really accurate. I think there are a couple.
I think it's all your own perception.
Well, I think there are a couple that are actually fucking fun to think about and talk about. But other than that, I just think.
Well, I mean, look, why were all the most, let's say, important delegates or people that were supposed to be in those buildings in 9/11? Why weren't they in the building at that time? When those buildings came down.
9/11 is conspiracy theory. But what I do think is them killing Epstein, the sex trafficking thing. That's just too much. Because I know about people watching this guy all day, and all of a sudden it just all falls apart with the video and the gods, and I just don't believe that. Other than that, there's only a few over the past however many years.
At the end of the day, shit fucking happens. Shit happens, and
who's to say there wasn't a fucking payoff to a prison guard to fucking say I was in the shitter? I mean, come on, it's not that hard. It's easy to believe.
Hey, you know what?
As far as Bigfoot, there's Bigfoot and all this shit. I'm like, I mean, there might be some
Shaquille fucking Neal.
Well, what do you think about Bigfoot?
Who, Shaquille O'Neal?
No, Bigfoot, you fucking knucklehead.
Who, Harry and the Hendersons? Fuck, I don't know. Do I think there's a Bigfoot? I don't know. Fucking Sam Squamch? It's like I partied with the Trailer Park Boys.
Hold on, I gotta plug in my phone. Yeah, no, a Sasquatch is the name. Do you believe in there's a Bigfoot? Yes or no?
I'd have to say no.
Why?
Because wouldn't they have caught him yet?
I mean, well, I mean,
or maybe he's like the Predator. I don't know. Fuck. I mean,
you believe there in UFOs and aliens and stuff?
Yes, I do. I do believe it. Absolutely. Probably
That's
more.
my thing on shows. I go like this. I go, I'm inventing everything. I see other people saying this shit now. Control the narrative, all that stuff. Like everybody. Shut up.
I'll say that I did 15 grams of fucking mushrooms not that long ago. It was a fucking mega dose. And I saw it all. I mean, I saw Jesus in the carpet. I saw Buddha's fucking rippling into my fucking third eye. I mean, so whatever's out there, I know.
Can you start from the beginning with the 15 grams? Where'd you get 15 grams of mushrooms, you knucklehead? Did you pick them or did you buy them?
No, there's, well, I mean, I actually microdose mushrooms. So I'll take like a neural blend. They actually, if you microdose mushrooms, it actually has the ability to, it heals the brain. It helps return the brain to homeostasis.
Oh, you on mushrooms right now when we're talking?
I will be, because I'm going to take a neural mood right now. There we go. Wash it down with a little bit of Timmy Hose.
Top of the world, Ma! Top of the world, Ma!
Psilocybin.
Oh, I got the best show in the world! Thank you for taking mushrooms on my show. I thought that was kind of cool. I'm not a big mushroom guy or a hallucinogenic guy, but I would have taken one with you if I was there.
Well, I won't hallucinate off that. That was only 0.25. That was a microdose. So
okay. Can you grab me a bottle of them and fucking smoke them?
Smoke mushrooms. Fuck. We can do a tea. Once these fucking borders are open again, I'll have to shoot down to fucking Beantown and fucking visit your ass.
Absolutely. Oh, man. What a show. What a show. So is there any questions you want to ask me before we wrap it up?
God.
The guy that played in Snatch, the guy with the yellow teeth and the thick glasses, that's not my father.
I want to know what your goal is in the next 6 months to a year on where you see you taking your podcast, on where it's going to be,
well,
let's say, because
the first thing I want to do is win the presidential election for the United States. And vote Tibbetts a 2020. Tibbetts 2020. Vote Tibbetts. Boomski.
All right. So what else could I ask you? You know what I really want? What was it like suiting up for your first NHL game?
It was pretty fucking amazing. My first call up actually was against
Were
the
you nervous?
It was I was wicked nervous. Going into the rink, just how people. I was always super hypersensitive with the situation I was in with the what I was accused of when I actually happened that night. Kind of has always been on the back of my mind every time I meet somebody. I mean, how is it not, right? So unless you're a fucking buffoon that doesn't know what's going on around you. So on the way into the building, I actually took a flight there, and then me and Greg Cronin took a cab. We both got called up together. Sorry, Greg. Oh my God, he's a very dear friend of mine too. Greg Crozier. He actually, I think he lives in Rhode Island. I should look him up. Anyways, he went to Michigan. He was a stud. I think he was a first or a second or a third rounder. I think he was a third rounder maybe. Anyways, great kid. He was my line mate too. We got called up together. He was super nervous, and I wasn't that nervous until. No, I wasn't nervous. I was ready. I was ready.
Oh.
So he was super nervous, and he was kind of ruining the experience, really. That's how nervous he was. And I said that in the cab.
First NHL goal. How'd the first NHL goal feel?
No, I got to finish this story about my first game.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
All right. No, yeah. So we're in the cab together, and he's being super nervous. But he's younger than me too. He's like 21. I'm like 26, and I've had way more life experience. So I was like, "Come on, you're ruining it, dude. Just like be happy. We're gonna be ready." He's like, "We're probably not gonna play a lot." This is like being kind of negative, and I'm like, "Who, you know?" And he's such a great hockey player too. I think that was his only game, maybe. It was his only game, actually. And he's a super hockey player and a super guy. And he was my left wing along with Jason McDonald. We had the best line in the AHL. And so I got called up for one game. And Joe Thornton in the tunnel was getting out of the taxi at the same time, flying in from Boston when we were getting into the Igloo. And we were walking in like at the same thing, and I passed him. And he said something super nice to me, and I never forgot it. And I heard Joe Thornton said a bunch of nice things about me over the years. And I was like, wow, that's awesome. He said I was like the best and shit like that, player and shit. And yeah, because I worked real hard at being a player. And everyone wanted to fight me. I was like, I don't want to fight these guys. And yeah, but the way I played, I knew I was going to have to fight, but it was just kind of over the top with guys wanting to fight me everywhere. And because of the like prison thing, you end up being like,
everyone thinks you're the outlaw.
And if a guy doesn't want to get beat up, it's getting broken up anyways. It's not even a real fight. It's kind of, it's kind of glamorized more than it should be. The hockey fight, and it's because
you think fighting should be taken out of hockey?
No, I don't. I wish they would take back the headshots too. I wish everybody. I used to target the head actually.
That's the fucking. Holy shit, dude.
With my shoulder, I mean, I wasn't trying to throw an elbow at your head unless I really didn't like you, unless you did something to me. But then I would elbow you in the head if you did something to me. And yeah, I mean, you fucking, hockey's fucking vicious sport. I learned that a long time ago. I used to get
Gladiator, for fuck's sakes.
I used to get hit from behind on a regular up in Canada, and I would never get penalties called or anything. Like fucking almost break my neck. Like I was hyper aware of what was going on that ice.
Right.
I played in the Maritime Junior A Hockey League. I played in the BCJ. I played in the OHL. I played in the WHL. I played for the Boston Junior Bruins, who played against all those Toronto, St. Mike's, Wexford, Notre Dame Hounds, all that shit. I was one of the best hockey players in the world growing up, and I've been one of the best hockey players in the world my whole life. And that's why I started this podcast, because people tried to to diminish who I was, what I did, and
I can validate it. I'll validate it. Billy Tibbetts is one of the best players ever at his time, at that time. And if you would have had your opportunity to actually showcase your pure talents, you would have been probably one of the top 10 greats to ever play the game. I believe that.
So this is why we do this podcast. I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you for saying that, actually, because that is the truth. And that's why I wanted to put information out there and start to control the narrative, because I'm not going to lie to you. I drank beers. I smoked weed today. I didn't do any more drugs than that. I've been drinking beers and smoking weed. Everybody's going to get angry. Everybody's going to have bad days. You don't label them bipolar, crazy, all that stuff. That hurts them more than it helps them if you really want to be a good human being. I think this is my best podcast I've done. It's my longest. I usually do 3 guys a day. I wanted to thank you for spending all this time with me. All these worthy causes you've done. All these, just bringing light to mental illness. It's all around us. It might not be in you, but you might be dealing with it with a family member or a friend or a stranger or someone you bump into, and you're like, why did things go that way? What did I do wrong? And
you
then
get it.
Like questioning yourself all the time as a young man or a young woman. And I really I got a pure heart. I know I do. I've had to soul search my whole life. Soul search. If
it all comes down to the relationship that we have with ourselves
and God and your higher power.
Well, I believe that God resides within us.
Amen to that. Amen to that. And I've learned a lot from you in just these 2 days. I just met you last night, and I've learned a ton from you. And I admire you, and I honor you. And I want to say, Ryan Phillips, this is like a life changer for a lot of kids out there who get some good information and hopefully learn a lot from this podcast. And hopefully it's not easy to be in the spotlight. And you're doing it, and you're doing it very well. And I'm trying my best to follow in your footsteps.
Well, we do it together. That's the thing. You know what? The best thing is that you're able to do things together. It's like you said, at the end of the day, doing shit on your own fucking sucks. So when you can combine things together and you know that, and you believe in somebody else's, just believing in somebody else's true heart, that's when magic happens.
So listen, if you're not feeling good out there, if you're in Canada, you're in the United States, if you're anywhere, and if you're thinking about taking your own life or doing anything crazy or anything like that, you give me a call and I will talk you through it.
Even better, you can reach out to me on Instagram. It's Ryan Phillips Warrior, and DM me, and I can send you to, at least the proper help, because I do have the proper resources, not only for people in the United States, but for people in Canada too.
Amen to that. You got it. The Billy Big Time Show. Best
Billy
show in
Big
the
Time.
world.